If you look into early versions of games, especially those released in past console generations, chances are you'll notice a few pretty drastic changes. This is because video games go through multiple revisions throughout development as ideas and concepts are added, removed, or tested. This applies to all elements of game development, including story, gameplay, visuals, audio, and so on. These early versions of games are often referred to as beta or prototype versions. It's a pretty rare occurrence that much of a beta or prototype is seen, much less the full game released. There have been a few notable exceptions to this, including a surprise leak of the 1997 Space World prototype of Pokémon Gold and Silver versions earlier this year. I've always found occurrences like this in the world of video games fascinating, so I thought it would be fun to focus on the history and what we know about the release of these particular prototypes. Before large industry-spanning trade shows such as E3 were as big as they are now, some companies preferred to hold their own trade shows. One of these companies was Nintendo, who were well known for their Space World trade show that was hosted from 1989 to 2001. At these shows, Nintendo would reveal various games and hardware that were upcoming at the time. In many cases, the games and hardware that were shown off weren't exactly in the final stages of development, leading to some interesting peeks into how well-known video games looked earlier in development. These early versions are a source of fascination for fans who enjoy looking further into their favorite games or are interested in the development process of video games. But far more often than not, information supplied is sparse, and only a few blurry clips and screenshots of these prototypes exist. This fascination led to the formation of a large community of fans that search out beta versions of video games and put time and effort into learning more about them. And rarely, these prototype versions are leaked out to the public. These leaks are the best way of looking into how games change throughout their development, as fans can look in the game files directly and see all the differences for themselves. But Nintendo is a notoriously secretive company, making leaks decidedly rare when it comes to their archives. That's one part of what made the Pokémon leak on May 26, 2018 such a big shock. The video clips you're seeing now, alongside a few screen caps, were all we had of this prototype for years. But the dumping of the ROM file for the prototype to the internet opened a wealth of information to the public. Most notably, a multitude of scrapped and changed Pokémon designs. The internet exploded with fan art and discussion about the prototypes following the leak, and the video game beta and Pokémon communities had a treasure trove of new info to explore. Early versions of games like these are always compelling as they tell a story of video game development and the processes games go through before they hit store shelves. I highly recommend visiting websites like Unseen64.net and The Cutting Room Floor, as well as YouTube channels such as Beta64. These are great sources of info regarding beta versions of video games, and I'll leave links in the description for everyone to check out. The exact differences between the Pokémon prototypes and the final versions are far too substantial to cover thoroughly in this video, but I'm definitely open to making one if there's interest in it. But for now, that's all for today. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.